Previously recorded podcast.
All right, welcome back to Previously Recorded. I am your host, RP, as always. And this is a special episode breaking the fourth wall and breaking our, Fox rewatch to kind of jump ahead to the end of the rewatch and discuss Deadpool and Wolverine. However, before we do that, there's some things we have to do. And one of them is introduce my two co-hosts for today. Welcoming back Bob as always, sir. How are you?
Well, I'm back.
You're
Let's
back.
do the thing.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back. And then introducing our third chair, Marvel. Welcome back to the show as well.
Hello, hello. Glad to be here.
Fucking Shane was busy tonight.
Yeah.
Busy.
I mean, was.
Yeah.
Won't be
He
shame.
might have been, but
Tap, 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 tap.
he told us like last week that he was busy, but you still gotta roast him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't, this isn't shocking.
Yeah,
but
so yeah. How are
he
you
let us
guys?
know very obviously.
Yeah, how are you guys?
I'm good. I'm good. It's hot.
It
It's a
is.
hot one.
It is a
But-
hot one today on August 1st.
I'm well.
I'm so
Same old,
glad
same
to
old.
hear you're well. I really am. You know, it was a big weekend. Deadpool and Wolverine came out, but also San Diego Comic-Con happened, and there were some pretty big announcements from that. Also, a lot of nothing. I guess we could just kind of get into it. I know, really breaking the rewatch and kind of doing a little bit of something else for the first time in 4 months. We're going to talk about San Diego Comic-Con for a little bit. So happens every year, end of July.
What do you think that experience is like before you get into the releases? Because we've all gone to Wizard World in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's significantly different. And
100%, right? It's more about the
Yeah.
panels there than it is about anything else.
it's been a bucket list item for me for probably 15 years, and it's really hard to get tickets.
Yeah.
And the pass is obviously making a flight to San Diego work. But yeah, dude, it's nuts because it's not just one big panel. It depends what your interest is because there's a bunch of panels happening. Wizard World in Philly has like small panels with some
Even
comic
the panels
artists.
here, like they don't matter.
Yeah, they
Like,
don't.
I mean, they do, but it's like, all right, talk to this celebrity, like, and they're gonna answer questions or Q&A with this person, or like,
A
how do
photo
these
op
things get
or
made or whatever. As far as like the panels go, at least. But
the,
like those panels are like, hey, I got into like that must be you have to get your ticket and then you have to get into these panels as well.
you're camping out for Hall H for the Marvel
That's what-
panel. You're camping
Well,
out.
it's not just the Marvel panel though. I mean, like you said, it depends on
Your interest. There
There's
was
going to be a DC panel every year.
there
whether
wasn't
it's-
this year.
There was not anything DC.
Mm-mm.
Is
Not well.
that
I'm
like
sure.
the first
I'm,
time, or
I'm sure comic related, but DC Studios didn't do anything.
okay, but even so, like, all right, so I want to go to see this comic thing, and like DC comic fans, it's not because you're gonna see like Jim Lee or like these big names. It's not Jeff Johns. You're not just like going to see the D-listers. No offense, that are
Mhm.
No,
at
absolutely.
Wizard World.
There's something, whether it's and Wizard World, you'll probably get more of like movie and TV and maybe some comic book.
The coolest
I
person
didn't even
that
know
I've
Wizard
ever.
World had panels.
They
I
have
never
Yeah,
even-
they do have a couple. Yeah,
they had a
Yeah.
couple, but like at Comic Con in San Diego, you're getting cartoon panels. You're getting
Yeah.
all
The
comic
panels
books.
at Wizard World are more like almost like
ECW.
TED talks,
Yeah,
if that
Yeah.
makes sense. A TED talk on like this
Mm.
concept.
yeah. Where San
Yeah,
Diego, you
The
go
most
and
famous thing at Wizard World was the Ecto One.
yeah, I think it's probably right. But yeah, no, there's a panel for anything. There's it's Star Wars, Marvel.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is it like
it's
a trip
wild.
to Disney World where like you get your ticket, but then you have to map out your days like minute by minute? It's not
Yeah,
just like, hey,
easily,
let's go see
yeah.
what this is like.
Yeah, and then on top of all that, like going to panels, there's just a ton. It's a giant convention center, so there's booths everywhere
That's
for
because you have that on top of it all.
yeah,
That's
where
There's
you
stuff outside too. Like Adult Swim always has like they'll build like a miniature golf course outside or like some wild stuff like that.
It's just like
like
crazy.
it's truly insane, and I've always wanted to go. if I went, I don't think I would do the Marvel panel because I would want to experience
Like
everything. I
you're
mean,
gonna spend a day of it just trying to get into Hall H.
Mhm.
exactly. And it's like at that point, it's not really worth it for, you know, whatever reason. Obviously, the reveals are crazy. If Marvel's coming to San Diego, they have something big to reveal. They're not just going to run through their slate. That's more of like a D23 thing. So I guess we'll start with the biggest news then. First off, would you guys go to San Diego Comic-Con?
No.
For free.
Tickets aren't that bad. They're like $74 for like Friday and Saturday. So
Really?
yeah, like
Which
it's
means all the crazies are going too. I
yeah.
must
Well,
want it to be more expensive than that for me to feel.
And then you get to see the crazy cosplays too. Like
Yeah.
we saw some stuff here, but then the
There's some
people
crazy
out
stuff
there.
here today.
well, did you hear
Well,
the
that's
the big news?
well, that's what I'm going to start off with. That 14 people were arrested in a human trafficking event at Comic-Con. That's the truly
That's
big
yeah.
news.
Wait, really?
Dead
I did not
serious. Yeah.
see any of that. I don't really pay attention to the news.
I just
either.
Googled news from
Yep.
Oh,
San
That's
did you?
Diego
Okay,
Comic Con
all right.
to
So you
like
guys
catch
didn't
up,
know
and that
that
came up.
until two
so
seconds ago.
I saw it today, but I was going to open up and say, well, what do we think about the big news and the
Yeah,
sex
the
trafficking
sex
that
tra-
went
is it
down?
sex trafficking or is it human trafficking? Because
It says
It's
anti-human trafficking sting.
yeah, but I think it's like connected to sex trafficking because like that supposedly I like read into it. Some of those like cosplayer girls will hand out like cards, almost like
Mm,
Vegas, where you can like
okay,
pay for their time,
that's a nice
and
way
I'm
to put
which
sure at
makes me
this
want to
point,
go. That's what makes me want to
yeah,
go.
at this
it.
Not
point,
all
I'm
fuck
sure
all H.
a bunch of them have OnlyFans and shit too. That they're probably
Yeah,
Yeah, everything's
promoting
pushed.
down there.
I'm sure there's porn stars there. I'm sure they have
It's
booths.
just like it's the weirdest combination of like nerddom and Times Square that like I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
I
yeah.
think so. I think a little bit more controlled, a little bit of controlled
Not if
chaos.
there's human trafficking.
Yeah, well,
Well, they got
Now
him.
you're just
So
now you're just a Guatemalan Elmo in Times
yeah.
Square. You're no
I'm
different.
sure somebody dressed like Batman stepped in and got him. That's why it happened.
mhm.
That was the
That
that was
was
the
the hook.
bust.
Or somebody dressed like Iron Man.
Somebody
Um,
cosplaying the SWAT guy from like the Batman.
yeah, that
Yeah,
might work.
they do some of those minor characters. They're just like,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
this is the
they
guy
do
I
it.
want to get in.
You will walk into somebody who's like, uh,
I'm the Riddler pretending to
Yeah,
be a
they
SWAT guy.
try to outdo each other on like weird obscure
yeah,
characters.
where it's like I don't know, like Bob Agent of Hydra, which isn't really that obscure,
Even more obscure, yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
like the guy playing Galaga from the Avengers. Like somebody will be like cosplaying as that. Like that's how crazy it gets. I would love to, absolutely love to. It's on the bucket list, but I don't know if it'll ever happen.
You'd love
Maybe
to
one day.
go to Comic Con or to traffic humans.
Legal reasons, Comic-Con.
That's I didn't want our listeners to get confused. I wanted that to be very clearly stated
Yeah, don't get it
Yes.
twisted.
based on the things we've talked about so far. I wanted that to be very clear.
So DC didn't really have any news this weekend. They unveiled their new logo, which is cool. It's just like the old school DC
The old
logo
logo.
from like 2005, 2015, like that.
I
Like
like
that,
that
That was their
10-year
logo
run.
from like the 70s
Yeah,
Until like 2002.
until like 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it was. It's a logo that I was very familiar with on older comics, like from the 90s and then the early 2000s.
Like all the early Nightwing stuff is that logo. That's
Mhm.
how I kind of knew it was much
Which-
older.
It seems fun.
Yes.
Like we're going back to fun.
And I think that it's very interesting that they just wrapped filming on Superman, which releases next July. So you would think plenty of time for post-production. And I think I also think James Gunn's a very busy man. So he's got his hands on a lot of projects. Like they dropped a Creature Commandos trailer, which he's heavily involved in, Peacemaker. So I think he's building some time out, but it also
Also, do you
releases.
think that there's a level of James Gunn realizing that Marvel's going to drop something crazy and you want your headlines?
Maybe. I think that
You don't
that's
want to have to compete.
possible. I mean, it really was a huge Marvel weekend when you factor in Deadpool and Wolverine releasing this weekend. All the stuff they did for that with obviously they screened the movie Thursday night in Hall H. They did a awesome drone show that was all Deadpool and Wolverine related that ended in a Fantastic Four
Hmm.
symbol, the
with
score.
fireworks.
They had fireworks too.
No, like the drones were like
Oh yeah.
giving off like I didn't know that they could do that.
Yeah, dude, they're awesome. They were
I've never
really,
seen
really
a drone
cool.
show to be honest, but
I don't know if I have
I
either.
never see one live, but I always see like these type Disney
yeah.
ones.
Yeah, I think I've seen them at like Disney World as a portion of like another show or something. I've definitely seen some drone related activity.
Did you
Um,
go to the Phillies one?
no, I have. My parents have, and they said it's awesome. And so that was what started Thursday, and then not really much Friday. Obviously, Deadpool, Wolverine breaking all these records that we'll talk about later. And then their panel was on Saturday, and they kind of kept it low. They kept strictly movies. They talked Deadpool and Wolverine. They started off with an orchestra performance of Like a Prayer, or not an orchestra, a choir performance of Like a Prayer. Pretty cool. And then they talked about Captain America: Brave New World, brought the cast out. Um, Harrison Ford hulked out on stage, and he answered some questions in a very friendly manner, which is kind of
Out
hard.
of character.
Very out of character
Marvel
for
has him
him.
reined in.
Well,
Maybe,
yeah,
but
they didn't
like,
ask Star Wars questions, so it wasn't just a dick
He
about it.
just every interview I've seen, like until like the last, I think he just knows he's dying soon. But it's like he is such a curmudgeon. I love him
I
for
don't
it.
yeah, 'cause
I love him for it.
I don't think he was too bad during the like Indiana Jones
Yeah,
like
Disney, they got him reined in. They're
yeah.
like, here's
well,
$8,000 more dollars. Act like this movie's good.
Indy was proud. He was proud of Indy.
I don't know why.
Star Wars, I don't think he gave a fuck about. I think he hates Han Solo. I really
Yeah,
do.
he's want him dead forever. He want him dead to Return to Jedi.
Yeah, so I think anytime he gets asked a Star Wars question, he doesn't give a shit. But then this is something new for him. So I think maybe he's playfully entertaining because Disney owns Star Wars as well. And the classic response is, "Who shot first, Han or Greedo?" And he goes, "I don't care."
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
like, so
I think
somebody will.
he's getting more
And it
fun
was
as he
funny
gets older.
on the Indiana Jones press tour. A girl, Jamie Durack from comicbook.com, did have a tattoo of "I love you, I know," or something like that. And he leaned over at the end and said, "I know," because she was like, I think because she was really nice to him, and she said, "I really like the movie a lot, blah 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 blah." And then she did have to ask him about the Red Hulk, and he goes, "What's a Red Hulk?" So, you know, people were like, "All right, this is the Harrison Ford we're going to be getting," and then he shows up. Maybe he was just enthralled by Comic Con. I don't know,
Mhm.
and not asked like completely stupid questions.
He never
They,
done a Comic Con?
He
I,
has.
I'm
There's no
sure
He
he
way.
has to
has.
have, right, at some
Yeah.
point.
Well, I don't know because they
Star
showed
Wars? Or so
No, he
he
was on. Wasn't he on like Conan when Conan used to do like his Comic Con stuff? So he was definitely
yeah, but
out there.
I wouldn't count that as much.
yeah,
But I
because
mean, he
Conan is
was
Conan.
there. Like, why else would he be?
Yeah, I don't
Like, he had
know.
to. He had to do Star Wars or Indiana
Probably,
Jones.
probably Force Awakens. Yeah, but he seemed pretty happy to be there. They asked him about the popcorn bucket, like, "What would you design for Captain America?" And he was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Well, he's like this." They're like, "Well, this one's kind of misleading." He's like, "Wait, show me again." And and he was like, "Oh, I don't know." And it was just like he was so pleasant that I was like,
Wait, which
maybe
one did
he's
they
having a
show him?
good
The
time.
Deadpool one?
Yeah, they showed him
Oh, okay.
that I was not able to
So
get.
he got horned up is what happened.
Maybe, maybe. There wasn't really much from that. They talked a little bit more about the plot. Then they brought out the Thunderbolts, which I'm very curious about the
Whoa,
Thunderbolts.
they revealed what's his name's role in the movie.
Oh, Giancarlo Esposito is playing Sidewinder, which I know
Okay, who cares? Move on.
nothing about. um, and then they talked about the Thunderbolts, and they brought out the cast. David Harbour came out in full Alexi costume, which is
Hmm.
pretty cool. We played it up a little bit, and he's kind of revealed a little bit about the movie too. He's like, "We drop a bomb in this movie," which that is plot related to a potential character
Hmm.
that I'm not going to spoil, but it seems like it's going to be a fun movie. I hope it's good. It seems to connect some of the other pieces of. They mentioned adamantium in Captain America, and there's a rumor that they're going to get adamantium from Tiamat, who is the celestial from the Eternals that's in the sea. So
So they're going to acknowledge that thing that's been in the ocean for 4 years that they haven't even talked about? That's nice.
Yeah,
it was
in
in
trailer. So.
It was in one thing, and it was the She-Hulk newspaper. That was it.
Yeah, like that had to have like flooded countries. That would have caused tsunamis. People would have died.
Florida
They haven't discussed it once.
Maybe Krakoa. Maybe it floods and erodes some water, and Krakoa comes from it.
Stop these X-Men.
Krakoa is a living thing, so it doesn't make sense.
And then the asterisk is bullet shells, but I think that's going to be a reveal at the end of the movie that they're the Dark Avengers. Like I think that's what the asterisk's for, because it's no longer referring to Thunderbolt Ross. Feige made some like weird comment about that. But then they moved on to the movie that I am the most excited for, that I've been the most excited for. They moved on to the Fantastic Four, which they revealed the subtitle is The Fantastic Four: First Steps, maybe to differentiate a little bit from the two other films that were called The Fantastic Four, or Fan Four Stick.
Four Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah, but the other ones are like Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Like there's two
but
that
the
are
original
Fantastic.
Oh, the one that
don't
never came out.
Yeah, don't disregard that. People worked on that movie.
Oh, I love that story about that movie.
Go listen to previous recorded Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer featuring Audra for all the backstory.
There's really interesting shit about that. So they filmed a specific sizzle reel. They started production this week. This was just footage just for Comic-Con. And it was just trying to give you the vibe. Reed was a teacher. He's teaching some educational show about science on TV. It was in 3:3 format, so like old school.
It looked
awesome. In the 60s. What?
It looked awesome.
Yeah. And it ended with Galactus being in the window of the Baxter Building. And it really didn't give you much about the plot. It kind of just gave you the vibe that they're going for, what the characters are going to be like, how they're going to interact. Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby, who were all over each other this weekend. They may be actually married. I don't know. But I will say on this podcast,
seems to be more going in one direction than the other, but I'm for it.
Yeah.
Well, they say he just interview with Vanessa Kirby was just like fawning, like schoolgirl, like.
But then
is there other ones where it's the opposite?
He's standing on stage and she's in front of him, and he just kind of like rubs his finger on her arm, and she like turns around and looks at him, and they just start holding hands.
He's known for like his bad anxiety though. Like he's kind of said like that's like his thing is like human touch. Like whenever he gets, so you could tell when they're all cheering, he like grabs her hand and like I think it's just his demeanor, but also like nice. Good interaction between co-stars.
That's what I'm saying here. Like that. Either way, the fact that they seem to really like each other, it's not a bad thing for a franchise.
Yeah.
These two actors get along.
Yeah, God forbid.
They do, and they Ebon Moss Baccarat just kind of seems, who's playing the thing, just kind of seems like he's like, yeah, we'll be here. Joseph Quinn, very reserved, playing the Johnny Storm. So I am super excited for this movie. I think the vibe is awesome. I love that it's going to be a different universe. I love that it's a futuristic 60s. Like, this is the way to do it. They're finally like bringing them in, and they're going to have a reason for why they weren't around. They showed off the Fantastic car. It was basically a drone that flew around the Hall H, which was awesome. And so that comes out next July, like 2 weeks before Superman and the week before Jurassic World 4 or Jurassic whatever the hell that
they're
movie
making
is.
another
I feel
one.
like two of those things should be mentioned in the same breath, and one of them
Yeah, the cast for the Jurassic World 4 is interesting though. So
is there a dinosaur in the cast?
There might be one. Hopefully, if we're lucky.
Dinosaur actor, or are they just giving those dinosaur parts to humans again?
Is it Earl Sinclair from Dinosaurs?
Well, Michael Clayton's back, or Creighton is back, who wrote the book.
He wrote the book.
Michael Crichton, he's dead.
Right.
They said
he's dead for 15 years.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Welcome back, Michael Crichton.
Yeah, Westworld, he's writing that too.
Maybe, but I don't know. Somebody, maybe the guy who wrote the first First
All right.
fucking movie's back. Somebody's back. Okay, I don't
You know
know.
what it's called?
Jurassic World 4.
All right.
Okay.
So other news out of Comic-Con, The Boys
No,
is getting a
that's
prequel.
yeah, The Boys.
I'm excited for that. You know, I'm a huge Ackles fan. It's gonna be, was it the Soldier Boy
And
storyline in the '50s Stormfront?
and Stormfront's going to be
Yeah,
there. Yep.
don't care about that, but I'm glad
Yeah.
Jensen Ackles getting work. And then people
I
hated
think
it.
that has potential.
Yeah, it'll be fine. People hated season one. Megan and I watched it, enjoyed it. Rings of Power season 2 trailer looked fucking awesome.
It's coming out at the end of this month too.
It looked
And you didn't see
surprisingly
anything else.
good.
So I'm watching. Did you watch the first season? You
Yeah.
said. Did you
Yeah.
enjoy?
It was fine.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I was interested. Let me put it that way. Like I didn't
Mhm.
think it was the best show ever, but like every week when it came out, I was like, I
Yeah.
want to watch. Like I want to see where this goes.
I like the characters enough that I followed it. Like they're Lord of the Rings-esque enough, but also like different enough that I was
Yeah.
like, oh, like I kind of like these characters that we're following.
That's kind of how I felt. And then I now am watching because I did it when they came out. At like I'm kind of going back and forth an episode at a time between Gen
Gen
V
V.
I like Gen V a lot.
and Fallout.
Oh yeah,
And
Fallout's
I'm watching 2 Amazon Prime shows. So the other day I put one on and the opening because you have to watch ads now. So the opening ad was the trailer for Rings of Power. I was like, I didn't even realize that this was.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
looks.
either.
I didn't know it was coming out this soon, but I
Yeah.
watched a trailer and I was like,
It's
wow,
the
this
end of the
actually
month.
looks really good.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
My problem with season 1 was I hated the Trollfoot or whatever the hell they called the half
The Hobbits, yeah, like
whatever
The brown toes.
Yeah, the knockoff hobbits and Saruman. I like that whole storyline. I did not care about. I love the dwarf and like his mind. Like that was awesome. I was very fine on it. So
Yeah.
I didn't know season that's kind of crazy.
The
That
dwarf
they
was
just,
cool. Galadriel was kind of annoying.
yes, I'm not a fan of.
the Sauron Gandalf twist.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fine.
I was all right with. I mean, it was something. It
I
was
just-
they
better
tried.
than just.
Less Heartfoots or whatever the fuck they're called. Less.
Mm.
There should be less. For the record, just recapping, going back a few moments. David Coep, I don't know how to say his last name. Koep.
That's it. That's it.
He wrote the first 2 Jurassic Park films.
That's what
Yeah.
I was.
Which, so just for again
Yeah,
to clarify, Michael Crichton still very much dead.
very much
Yes,
dead.
he's still dead. But
R.I.P.
the way these things
We
work,
thought that San Diego Comic-Con maybe could have brought him back, but it didn't
it's.
have that.
I mean, they
He
could do it.
could have came out Robert Downey Jr. style.
Yeah, they could. They could have. You know, the multiverse is
That
real.
would have lit up the Jurassic World.
That would have destroyed that news.
No,
Be
he's
like we
just-
brought
he-
someone back from the dead.
He's not dead. He's preserved in amber.
You thought
Like,
we
it's
could bring
fine.
back dinosaurs? Well, look what else we found in the end.
That's what the movie's really about. Bring it
That
back,
would be
Michael
that
Crichton.
would be interesting. So yeah, the Marvel panel didn't end with Fantastic Four, which again I am. What are you guys excited for Fantastic Four at all?
Yes, very much.
Now that I've seen the footage, I am. I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah,
I mean, I like all of the casting. I think was decent. Like I like all of those actors individually, so I can't see them not being good as the family. Vanessa Kirby, I was a big fan of because I remember she was like in talks, and then there was a leak that it was somebody else, and I was kind of pissed because I wanted Vanessa Kirby, and then it kind of came back. But I just didn't know what to expect, and then seeing that like
sizzle reel.
leak, I guess whatever you want to call it, because it wasn't like released to the public. You watch it on Twitter through like
Mhm.
somebody's phone, but
Yeah, they took it down.
yeah,
It's been
I
popping
saw-
up everywhere else, though. Yeah.
Yeah, when we covered Mission Impossible, I said I didn't know how I'd feel as her being Storm, and I was Sue Storm, and I was so wrong. Like I love that casting. I
just think that I think she's a good actor.
yeah, and
So, but like just the fact that we knew her more so from the Mission Impossible movies, I feel like kind of pigeonholed her a little bit when we
Mhm.
were thinking about it. But it was also happening while we were watching all these movies at once.
yeah.
Like that casting was happening at the same time.
Yeah. I've been we you'll hear it later. I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan. Been excited for this movie since they announced it. I don't think I've been this excited for a movie in the MCU or in general since Endgame. Maybe No Way Home. I was pretty excited for, but I think Endgame, I think really is where it's at. But that was at the end of the panel. They ended the panel with talking about Avengers 5 and 6. And it's no secret to anybody. It's Avengers 5 is called Doomsday. It's directed by Joe and Anthony Russo. And Avengers 6 is Secret Wars, which we knew.
Was that announced there that the
Yes.
Russos are come back officially?
Yes. It was
That's
announced
huge
there.
news for me.
Yes. I think that that's great news.
Mm.
The big news that I am not necessarily thrilled about is Robert Downey Jr. returning as Victor Von Doom. I understand it's a multiverse story. I understand it's the end of the multiverse saga.
Did they say that he was returning? Did they ever say that he is Victor Von Doom, or did they
Yes.
say that he is
Yes,
Doom?
they
Yeah.
said he's Victor Von Doom. There's a comic run of a like Doom is like a Tony Stark variant to a degree where he's Iron Man mixed with Doom, but he goes by Victor Von Doom. There's plenty of different things that could happen.
The amount of people also on Twitter who are like explaining that comic run as if they've developed it.
Yeah.
Like not saying that like, hey, this is the run that the comics did, but saying instead like this is the plan for Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
It's like, dude, you read a comic. You didn't even read the comic. You read a comic
Yeah.
synopsis.
They read somebody else who said
Yeah.
it, and then they just regurgitated it.
I'm fine with the Doom of it all because I love Doom. I think he's awesome. I think he's an Avengers level villain. It makes sense with Secret Wars. I am kind of bummed that they just Kang got wrapped up in Loki season 2, but I'm hoping that just comes back in the next phase in some fashion. I think that to really wrap that up, but I'm truly bummed because I don't want Robert Downey Jr. back as another character. If you want to bring him back, Superior Iron Man is a evil run of Iron Man. Like there's plenty of different ways to do that, but I wanted a true. I'm so excited for the Fantastic Four to be done right. I'm just so excited for a proper casting. And one of the things I read online is like somebody was theorizing just like maybe why they brought Robert Downey Jr. back. Obviously, butts and seats. Disney has stepped in. I think Disney's concerned. People
I think that's the number one reason. I don't think that there is more reasons. I mean, there's going to be the plot line reasons that they give, but I think that and that's why I don't like the casting because this is the panic button.
Yeah, and that is
I think it's smoke and mirrors. I don't think this is it. I really don't. I
think just having him
he's
in
involved,
it at all,
but not the way that people think.
Yeah, I'm saying, but I think having him in it at all and just hyping it up like this, that's the panic button. That's all right, we can't do this without him. Which also means that like you have the film. It won't happen because he's going to put the butts in the seats. But you make the film, and let's say it does not do well, then all right, then you're dead. Then MCU is dead because you're MCU Jesus to make a Deadpool reference, right? Just failed you still, and now you have nothing.
It's interesting.
You don't have that to go back to
see what happens because it is multiverse. They are in a different universe.
It
feels desperate. It feels desperate.
It seems lazy to me too.
Yes. So one of the things that
who do we know will be successful and people will want to come see Robert Downey Jr. All right, let's put him in there and we'll make him a variant and we'll kill him off for whatever. It doesn't matter what the actual plot is, but it just feels like all right. Well, we know that works. Let's do it.
And I would be fine with a small role, but this is Doom. Like it's not one of the Avengers comes back in Deadpool and Wolverine and plays another character, and it's fine. It works.
It's the casting equivalent to me of making a Mufasa movie.
It's just
happened.
Yeah, it has happened.
I'm saying so. It's all brand for Disney. Yeah. It's just hey, people like the Lion King. Let's do another thing with that guy. People like him.
I just am really hopeful that it is smoke and mirrors, that we get a true Doom afterwards. But one of the things that somebody said online is that, with Kang, we had multiple things. With Thanos, we had 10 years to build up to Thanos. Really,
that's what I'm worried about too.
And that it is just people are familiar with Robert Downey Jr. and therefore might be able to connect to, if we call Doom a Stark variant, that they'll be able to connect with him more instead of any other reason. And I've said it multiple times that
off screen aside, do you feel like Jonathan Majors was difficult to connect to? I just don't think he was well
Yeah.
written.
He got beat by an ant. He automatically
That's what I'm saying. He was
is
poorly
out.
written. But like just season one of Loki, I thought he was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
No, he was phenomenal. I enjoyed
Yeah.
him.
I
And
liked
then
him too.
they threw him down the drain in what is it,
And
Quantum Mania or whatever.
the only and this is only I think this is only really happening because of his legal issues. Like I
Yep.
think we would have
But didn't that
seen
happen prior to the legal issues?
no.
Quantum Mania?
Yeah, all that was before.
Mm.
Or no, the
So he
legal
got
issues
beat by
had,
Ant-Man in Quantum Mania.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean
You can't be the
that
big
was
bad.
bad writing,
You
but
can't be the
they
big
could have
bad.
redeemed him
Well,
if they wanted
the
to.
the end credit scene is all those Kangs.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
So we'll see what happens. From a narrative standpoint, there's nothing about this that to me doesn't work. Like that they can't make work. They've made, for me personally, almost everything has worked for me at Marvel.
Mm.
There's some things that haven't been great, but they still work. The Russos are back. McFeely's back, who wrote all the Russo brother movies. And the part of the reason why they're back,
Was McFeely at Comic-Con?
no, but
Because
he wrote.
there was a human trafficking joke in there somewhere. So I just wanted to.
Oh, like Touchy McFeely, gotcha. Because it was Marcus and McFeely was the writing team, and they're only one of them coming back, which is interesting. And Downey said he allegedly would only do the movie if the Russos came back, but the Russos kind of always been in talk with Marvel to come back and do this. So there's a lot to digest. I think the internet is split 50-50. I think the MCU fan base is split 50-50. I don't like it, but I'm gonna be there opening night. Like
Mhm.
I'm curious. I hope
It's
that
but
it's
that's exactly what Marvel was saying with like the smoke and mirror stuff. Like it's clickbait.
Mhm.
Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, and it's a big Hall H announcement. Imagine if you're there. That might be like one of the greatest experiences
Oh.
of your life.
Somebody thought they were seeing Jared Leto.
Yeah, that's fucking funny. If you want to say that.
Yeah, so like they were making an announcement. It was the Russos, it was Feige, and they're like, and all these Doctor
All the
Doom
Dooms,
dress
yeah.
people were there, and they're like, we can only have one actor as Doctor Doom. So it was like, oh shit, like they're gonna reveal Doctor Doom actor, like it's all these cool actors that everyone thought, and then one walks forward, and right before he pulls out the mask, they're like, Jared Leto, and then pulls it off. It's Robert Downey Jr.
Man,
Someone thought Jared Leto was going to be Doctor Doom.
and now
A
people are,
Morbius variant.
now people are just
Honestly,
saying,
at this point, I'd probably rather Jared Leto over Robert Downey.
I just don't understand why. Obviously, money. We
It'll make
understand
sense.
money.
It'll make sense, even if
That's what it comes
it's
down to. Like they've got the hype, and
yeah.
they're not going to do that if they don't have some kind of logical explanation. And even if I hate that logical explanation,
Spider-Man will be there. It doesn't
it
matter.
will
Like,
make sense at
Yeah.
some point. But now, why release it now? Well, now everybody's talking about the movie a year out, and
Yeah.
having these same conversations and trying to figure out what this is going to be. The same way that when Infinity War ended, it was, oh man, a year of how are they going to figure this out? How are they going to get out of this?
It's true. There's
Yeah.
also
Like
an
they're doing their
interesting-
job.
There's also an interesting story standpoint there of all of these heroes having to fight a variant version of Tony Stark, like the guy that they lost.
I also
They
don't
now
care. I
have
don't
to
care
fight
about that.
No,
Like,
I
I
think
don't know.
interesting.
It's interesting.
When Tom Holland sees
He wears a
Tony-
mask.
It's interesting, but I don't care. Like, I'm not like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. is gonna bring me to the theater. Like you said, I was going no matter what.
Yeah, it's
No
not
matter
Robert
what.
Downey Jr.
Yeah, but
But,
there's definitely people who now will definitely go. Like we were all going no
like
matter.
why?
That's
though?
like
Like
what we
why
do.
is Robert Downey going to
It's
be the reason that you
'cause
go? Like it's just,
It's
I love the guy, I do, but it's just like I don't know.
Some people maybe they're trying to reconnect with those people that tapped out.
And so
after
is that
Endgame.
he's not in anything until Doomsday?
As of now,
Rumor is Fantastic Four end credit scene,
Okay,
which is the movie that leads into.
that's what I mean. But he doesn't. There's no like.
I'm just so curious too, just behind the scenes of it all. Like so many Dustin Daniel Cretton, who did Shang-Chi, was supposed to direct Kang Dynasty, dropped out. Like it's just like why couldn't he direct this? Like why Shang-Chi 2 isn't announced?
well, weren't they all the same people that did Quantumania? Were supposedly
Yeah, some of that was
Yeah, all those
except
Rick
the
and Morty writers got dropped.
Yeah, thank God. That is something that, except for Michael Waldron, who I do like, thank God they needed to get rid of some the Rick and Morty people. I'm ready to
It's too
be.
goofy.
I am ready to be out of the multiverse. So at the end, I think all will be right in the world if the movie's good, obviously. But at the end of Secret Wars, we then get another Doom. That
God, Doom, man.
Yeah, but that's like
We got everything. We had Incursion set up. Doctor Strange. We got the Anchor characters set up, but they were from Secret War comic with God Doom.
Yeah, like that's where they're heading. Obviously, Secret Wars. I don't know though if you
And
can't
so
get
when
another
Secret Wars,
Doom
what's the
release date.
release? Yeah,
May 26th is Doomsday, and then
of 2026.
May
Yeah.
2026, and then May 2027 Secret Wars.
I mean, luckily I'll be dead by then.
I was gonna say, so, yeah. So just
I won't have to worry about it.
just a gentleman's 3 years until we can
Mhm.
understand what this RDJ casting was.
Which is relatively short considering these
Have you
movies.
wake up every morning, RP? My
It's
back
tough.
hurts.
It's tough. It is tough. These movies keep me going. So that was the Comic-Con news. Kind of final thoughts where you kind of whatever on the Avengers and more so looking forward to Thunderbolts or Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it was kind of lackluster. I think the Fantastic Four stuff that leaked, which is a shame because that's stuff that leaked out. They didn't even want it seen, and that was the coolest thing that came out of it.
But that's part of what of Hall H.
I mean, yeah, they know that shit's not.
I know, but it's just like release it if you know it's going to get leaked. Like just put it out.
Yeah, but I get it though because it's that you waited, you deserve this. Like this is what you get.
Yeah, and then some asshole in the back's recording. Like it's just
and
like,
I say thank you to that guy.
Yeah. The same people who are putting all of Deadpool Wolverine on Twitter right now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
I've seen that like 5 times the
and
last
the
couple.
director's fucking retweeting the shit. And I'm like, what is?
Wait, was he?
Oh yeah, we'll get into that.
good for him.
Yeah, so my thoughts are the Avenger stuff's cool. Happy the Roosters are back. They haven't missed.
Mhm.
And let's fucking go, Fantastic Four.
Mhm.
Too far away for me to have thoughts.
And new
fair.
Street Shark toys.
Yeah, that's podcast to ride. So I believe that is the end of our Comic-Con discussion. It was a big weekend, but it was an even bigger weekend for what we're going to talk about on Monday.
A $453 billion weekend.
Yeah, and even more this weekend. See you guys on Monday. Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.